Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you're watching me. My name is Jesse, and I am a Kenyan. I was born and raised in Kenya, but currently I'm in the United States of America, and I am here as a student, as an international student. And I take this opportunity to welcome you again to this session. If this is your first engaging with me in this session, please feel welcome, because this is where you get to learn some of the ways and the paths that international students have to go through or navigate for them to relocate from their various countries to come here. And I use Kenya as a case study because that's where I was born and raised. So it is my humble privilege to say thank you and to welcome you again into this channel. I know I just don't take it for granted, because you give me a lot of support, and I really appreciate that. So I want to say thank you to many of you who have been sending me emails, DMs, comments on my Facebook page and YouTube channel, commending me for the good work that we are doing with the Kenya Airlift program. And for those who might not know what Kenya Airlift program is, this is a program that was actually initiated or started by a Kenyan by the name Bob Mweti, in collaboration with another Kenyan who is now a member of County Assembly of one of the counties in Kenya, called DMK, or Dennis Kiogora. And the primary goal for this program is just to ensure that brilliant Kenyan students who are willing to come and pursue their studies in the United States just have like a seamless way of doing that. Because if you have ever been to a situation where you're trying to find a university abroad, it's not easy, and you really need a lot of information, a lot of resources, and sometimes you end up getting into the hands of people who pretend to be knowing all these, but finally you end up losing your money, your time, and also a lot of other things. So Kenya Airlift program is basically designed to help those Kenyans, students who are willing to come to the United States of America, and in extension to Canada, starting from next year, to come and study or to do their master's program or master's program as for now. But I believe if you're still you're willing to come and do your PhD, there is a way that this program can help you. So I came through the same program, and I've been working with this program back from the time I was in Kenya and up to this moment. And I've received so many people commending the good work we are doing, bringing you episodes of students who have already relocated from various places in the country, just to come to various universities here in the US and to pursue their dreams and their goals in terms of their career path. So thank you very much for those who've been commending, appreciating the work we are doing. And if you have not had a chance to see these episodes, just head to Bob Mweti's YouTube channel on YouTube, and you'll get to see all these episodes, and you have to learn so many things. So thank you very much for that. Now, that was not the primary thing for this session. And before I proceed, I would just want to give a disclaimer that I am not talking, or I am not saying anything on behalf of Kenya Airlift program. No, that's a disclaimer that I am not speaking or giving any information on behalf of the Kenya Airlift program. No, I have decided to do the YouTube video for the sake of those viewers from my channel that are asking me some questions that they need to know the clarity of how life is and how things are in this other part of the world. So it is true that studying in the United States of America, and not only in the US, studying abroad is very expensive. And if you have done your good research, you'll be able to understand that the process itself requires a lot of money and a lot of time. So when you plan to study or to come or to go to any other country for studies, you have to plan in advance. Most of you guys have been asking me, like, what exactly do I need for me to be able to join the Kenya Airlift program? And I have given some of you resources that they need to go and read, but still I'm getting the same questions. So one thing that you have to agree with me, that it requires you to have patience and also to be dedicated with the goals that you have, the goals you're setting. If you want to come to the United States of America, as a case, you have to be patient. I have seen a lot of people on Telegram, on Facebook, on other social media platforms, just trying to bring down the good work that Bob and DMK are doing. Of course, sometimes what we expect is not what we receive. And most of you are raising very, very critical concerns, asking like how is life is after you relocate to the United States of America. And I want to be very clear to you. Now, before we come to how life is, let me just focus on something that people forget. It's about patience, because when you decide to enroll into this program, then it means that you have to be patient. You have to be patient with Bob and his team, because through them you get a lot of information. I am not saying that it's only through the Kenya Airlift program that you can be able to maneuver your way to come and study in the United States. No. And that's why I said I am not speaking on behalf of Kenya Airlift program. There are so many ways. But if you've decided to go through the Kenya Airlift program, which I would really recommend for one reason, you get a lot of information. You get a lot of one-on-one guidance and coaching with the people who have already gone through the system, and they know, and they have you have testimonies from people like us telling you, like, this is what we went through. Now, if you're able to go through the Kenya Airlift program, because most of you guys are asking me, is this Kenya Airlift program a legit thing? And I definitely say yes, because if I came through the same program and I paid the amount of money I paid, yes, I know it's not easy to raise this money. And I think by the time I was enrolling to the program, we were only paying around $1,000. If that was around 100,000 for you to join the program. I'm very sorry. There's a lot of noise from where I'm just adjacent to the highway. So if you decide to go through this route, please be patient. And it's not always guaranteed that if you enroll to the program that you will successfully relocate. I've seen people I know very close to me that we enrolled with them, but they never made to come here. So what does that tell you? It tells you that this is a risk that you're taking. It's an investment that you're taking. Just like the way you invest in a business, you're not guaranteed that this business will fully be successful. But the point I'm talking about investing in this journey or in KAP is because the probability and chances of you getting into this other side of the world, it's higher than going through other agencies that you don't know. They will take you around the bush and finally you lose your money and your time. And in KAP, you have testimonies of people who have already gone through it. Leave alone what you've heard about how we are living in this while we come to the America. What is your reason for coming? You have to ask yourself, do you really want to come and study? I got a post from one of one of my followers and was asking me, am I guaranteed of a job after graduating? And that is a question that I cannot really say a yes or a no. Why? Because there's nowhere on earth that while you're studying, you're already guaranteed that you'll get a job. But the chances of you getting a job because you have a skill, they're very high. And that's why if you look at the structure of how KEAP is working, they are now having a section whereby if you graduate through the program, they help you on job placement. It's still a process. So you want to know about how you will get a job, and yet you have not even started the journey of you relocating. So if you coming this way is pegged on whether you will get a job or not, then I don't think you fit in this. Or maybe if you getting a job is what will determine you to join the program and come, then please, I honestly tell you that there is no any guarantee that after you come here, you will definitely get a job. And I shared on my previous video, and I said that being an international student, it's a very high risk because there's some things that you cannot do. And by the law, by the United States of America law, you cannot do. For example, you cannot work outside campus if you're an international student, unless you're working for, maybe you're on internship, you are on CPT or OPT. If you don't know what OPT is and what CPT is, we'll talk about that later. But by law, you're not supposed to work outside campus if you're on session. You can only work outside campus if you're on CPT or OPT. That means there's a company that has hired you as an intern, and now your I-20 status has been changed from an F1 student. You're still an F1 student. Now, it has been changed from, you're given another type of I-20 that allows you to work, that authorizes you to work. Another thing I came to realize that F1 visa allows you to go and work like a volunteer in any organization as per the US law. But now, the labor laws of this country denies you the right to go and work as a volunteer because they see that as a form of employment. And if you work as a volunteer, you'll be given a stipend, for example. And that stipend, they view it as a form of payment. And just because you're an F1 student, you are not supposed to work and get paid unless you get a job through CPT or OPT, or even get maybe a H-1B visa. So there are so many things. So if you come to me and ask me like, am I guaranteed to get a job? That's a question that I cannot say yes, and that's a question that I cannot say no. And if that is what will determine your next decision whether to join the program or no, I'm sorry, I don't think that you're ready for this. And I've seen so many people talking very bad things about the program, and most of these are not even in the program. I know there are so many people have gone for visa interviews and they have failed, and they are attributing all these things to Bob. Bob and his people has no any relationship with visa application or with visa approvals. Bob helps you, and like any other agent in the country or anywhere in the world, they will prepare you. Kenya Airlift program will prepare you for the interview, for the visa interview, and what you need to know and what you need to do. But on the side of approval, they do not have any say when it comes to visa approval. So people have been trolling Bob and his team because sometimes I feel for the program, because I contribute to some extent in spreading this information about studying in the US, because I do the voiceover for the Kenya Airlift show. I do the voiceover. So, and I really accept when I see people asking me such questions because they want to know from the horse's mouth. Now, if you pay the amount of money, for example, you pay and you pay for the GMAT, you do the GMAT, you pass the GMAT, and then you pay the money, and then Bob refuses to pay for your service fee, that's an issue that you can go ahead and now start trolling Bob and his team. But now if Bob has done all these things, the only big issue is you getting approval for the visa. I think that's where we are getting it wrong, and that's where we are having this negative energy about people talking about how the program is so bad. Now, as we all expect, and as people say, and my final word on that is that if you really want to come to the US through the Kenya Airlift program, I started by saying there are so many avenues that you can use. But for the record, I would recommend KAP. For one reason, you get a lot of resources and a lot of information in regard to what you need for you to successfully relocate here. Now, I'm done with that. Another question I was asked is, please tell us how really life is here without sugarcoating, or without adding PR, or without hiding anything. Yeah. I would not be honest if I would just sit here for more than 30 minutes and record this video just for the sake of lying to you, or adding, or sugarcoating, or doing PR. Or no. Life in the US as an international student, it's hard. It is hard. And this is a risk. I started by saying it is a risk, just like the way you can take your money and invest in a business. It is a risk. So, are you ready for the risk? When you come to this other side of the world, you know nobody except maybe Bob and his team who will help you to relocate here. But when you come here, yes, you will still have a community of Kenyans that you will talk to, but on how you will live, it is solely depend on you. Why? Because I said, life here is expensive. If you talk about just housing itself, it is expensive. You've been used to paying like 10,000, 15,000 at maximum for your house rent back in Kenya. 15,000 Kenyan shilling here, it is not even enough for your food budget for 1 month. You pay around $500 or even to $600 just for your housing. And this is the bare minimum. That translates to around 60 to 70,000 just for housing. And in this house, you're not staying alone. It's just a single room. So if you don't have a job, even like an on-campus job that you'll have, or maybe you don't have a scholarship, or maybe you don't have a GA, it is gonna be hard for you. And maybe perhaps, let's say you don't have like someone who is supporting you from back home. It's gonna be very hard for you. So it's a risk that you need to think critically and just evaluate everything and see whether you're ready for this. And but to me, it is a worth risk taking, because it helps you to understand how life is and to see life in a different perception, and also to broaden your mind and see how the world is moving, and see how people are doing things, and also build your character in a way. So it is a worth risk taking. But before taking it, please evaluate every single details that you need to know. And all you need to know, all this information, yep, very fine, thank you. All you need to know is like, just go to the website, search, Google all this information that you need to know. And if you need like a one-on-one resource, I would recommend the Kenya Airlift program. One person told me, or asked me, I heard you guys that you've been talking about good things about the Kenya Airlift program, but yet you guys there in the US, you're suffering. Anywhere in the world, everybody is suffering. But the difference is what kind of suffering and to what extent are you suffering. So, and as I said, and I will state again, it's a risk. So evaluate every chances that you need to know. Yeah, so I think my last word to you, who you're willing to come to this other side of the world, is before you decide to take any student loan, because there are so many lenders and there are so many ways to finance your studies. You can get a scholarship. There are organizations that are giving scholarship, like what is this called? Fulbright. Like Fulbright is one of them that is giving very good scholarships. But these scholarships are very competitive. If you're not lucky to get a scholarship, then you can get a student loan. And KAP gives you options to choose whether you want to use Empower financing or you want to use Discover. And there are things that they check before. There is information that you need to know before you even take these student loans. What are their rates? What are their terms of payment? Are you willing to take a risk of that huge amount of money, yet you're not guaranteed to get a job? So these are the questions that you should ask yourself. But all in all, we are doing it. So if you are doing it, you can do it. It all depends with are you ready to take a risk? And if does it? But if your purpose or if your main goal is just to leave the country, and then I don't think that you're fit for the program. Yes, so you should explore some other avenues of maybe coming here. So I hope that this video has been very, that you have learned something from this video. And if you have any question, please don't forget to leave a comment, ask that question on the comment section, and yeah, I'll be eager and I'll be ready to answer you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're watching. Until you see, let's see each other in the next video. Thank you so much.